I am absolutely in shock, and I'm in shock for a variety of reasons because this is the second Pro Bowl wide receiver that was officially traded today, and it's been an absolutely remarkable NFL free agency, and honestly, I've been holding this free agency period very near and dear to my heart, considering the fact that we're going through some tough times right now. So make sure that you guys are subscribed, you turned on notifications, and you dropped a like, because I'm going to try my best to bring you daily NFL news and daily football content to keep you guys entertained and to keep your minds off of these difficult times. Now, if you didn't catch my content, my video on DeAndre Hopkins getting traded earlier on from the Houston Texans to the Arizona Cardinals for a bag of expired peanuts, make sure you check it out in the description down below. But for a brief little summary of what we saw that happen there, pretty much DeAndre Hopkins got traded for David Johnson, and they gave back a second-round pick, but the Texans also had to forfeit a fourth-round pick. Now, I know what you guys might be thinking. Microphone, why does this matter? Well, guys, about, I don't know, by the time this video comes out, maybe an hour ago, we got an example of how a NFL team should truly covet its players and how it should yield the greatest return it potentially could possibly yield for a trade. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, after months, in fact, after a whole year of subtly throwing shade about the idea and subtly hinting that he wants out of Minnesota, that he no longer wants to be starring aside from fellow Pro Bowl wide receiver Adam Thielen, on the very day that the Minnesota Vikings decided to give Kirk Cousins an extension, they also decided to trade their Pro Bowl wide receiver to the Buffalo Bills. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is coming from Adam Schefter himself, and I'll give you the entire breakdown of the trade. So according to Adam Schefter, the Buffalo Bills are trading a first-round pick. Yes, you read that right. A first-round pick for a Pro Bowl wide receiver. It's not in the craziest realm of possibilities. A fifth-round pick, a sixth-round pick, and a fourth-round pick for Stefon Diggs. Now, we don't know what year these picks are. I'm going to try to update you guys in the description down below as we get more info about this. But this is absolutely remarkable because typically I would say, oh my God, how could you give up a player of Stefon Diggs' caliber? But the Minnesota Vikings actually did something that is very inconsistent with what the Houston Texans did. You see, the Houston Texans gave up DeAndre Hopkins for practically nothing, and I absolutely obliterated them for like 13. Like, my videos are typically 10 minutes long. That video was 13 minutes long because I had to take some time to obliterate the Houston Texans. But in this case, I actually have to applaud the Minnesota Vikings because I feel like this trade makes them significantly better. And I know what you're thinking, Mike, that doesn't make any sense. They're giving up a Pro Bowl wide receiver. You have to understand that the Minnesota Vikings already have a Pro Bowl wide receiver. They have a fairly good offense. They have a dependable tight end. They have the second fastest football player in the NFL in Dalvin Cook. I know that might sound crazy, but he technically is the second fastest player in the entire NFL. They have, and of course, he has to not stay injured and he has to be on the field. But when he is on the field, the Vikings don't really need Stefon Diggs to kick ass on offense. So the Minnesota Vikings now literally essentially turned a player that was a fifth-round pick in the 2015 NFL Draft, who definitely played way above his billing, for a first-round pick, a fifth-round pick, a sixth-round pick, and a fourth-round pick. So that is, if I'm not mistaken, that is 4 additional players. Well, if you want to count the 7th-round pick going to the going to the Bills, that is 3 additional players, if we're taking off the draft pick, that are going to the Minnesota Vikings. This is a team that literally is dancing on the tightrope, that is on the cusp of being able to compete for a Super Bowl. Now they're going to get a player that's significantly cheaper. And also, you have to understand that if this first round pick is in the 2020 NFL Draft, they could easily draft his replacement this year if they really wanted to. There is so much promising wide receiver talent, from CeeDee Lamb to Henry Ruggs to Jerry Jeudy. There is so much promising NFL draft wide receiver talent this year. So if you ask me, I'm not saying the Bills made a bad move. We're going to get to the Bills in a second. I understand why the Vikings did what they did. They were overloaded at assets in the wide receiver position, and it was probably the best move to move on from a player that was in year 2 of a huge wide receiver contract. Stefon Diggs currently gets paid $14.4 million per year. His contract expires in 2024. He's currently 26, by the way. So it is a great trade for the Bills as well. I'm going to get to that in a second, but it's best for the Vikings to shed his salary, move on from him, and try to fill out other holes on their team. So the Vikings have the opportunity to trade Stefon Diggs and use those draft picks to fill out their biggest offseason needs. If you ask me, they need help with the cornerback position. They need help at offensive tackle. They need help all over the defensive line. They have so many holes to fill. And this is definitely going to help them now that they have additional picks to spend in the draft that they don't have to pay nearly as much for. Now, as for the Buffalo Bills, and oh my goodness, man, the Buffalo Bills are probably in the midst of one of the most impressive rebuilds I've ever seen. This is a team that I really never paid attention to during my entire career as a football fan, and I've been watching football since 2002. I really always ignored the Buffalo Bills, and could you blame me? They were in the same division as the New England Patriots. I just felt like there was no point in paying attention to them, and they never really did anything that fantastic anyways up until last year. Man, even when they drafted Josh Allen, I said, okay, typical story, terrible team drafting a project quarterback. I know how this ends. I've seen Blaine Gabbert. I've seen Blake Bortles. I've seen those type of projects completely fall apart. But get this, man. Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane have been doing a phenomenal job rebuilding the culture of the Buffalo Bills. They traded old stars like LaShawn McCoy, they got rid of old stars like LaShawn McCoy. They've been able to identify proper talent to surround Josh Allen with and have also put him in a scheme to succeed. And they're slowly bringing him on and slowly allowing him to develop. They're not making him uncomfortable with anything that he may be uncomfortable with. You see, the Cleveland Browns, after seeing Baker Mayfield's rookie year and how that panned out, opted to go all in on Baker Mayfield in his sophomore season, which is a great philosophy if you ask me. If you go all in on a rookie quarterback or a young QB, you don't have to pay that QB as much. That allows you to invest in assets around him and build the best possible team you can for a Super Bowl run. We see it happening. We've seen it happen multiple times. That's pretty much the strategy once you draft a quarterback. And that's exactly what the Browns did, and unfortunately it didn't pan out. Freddie Kitchens didn't really fit in with that entire team. But what I'm seeing the Buffalo Bills do is they're slowly allowing Josh Allen to develop. In Josh Allen's first year, he was a decent quarterback, don't get me wrong. He wasn't anything that really struck fear into my heart. But in his rookie year, he had a completion percentage of 52%, threw for 2,074 yards. He threw for 10 touchdowns and had 12 interceptions. Last year, he bumped that up to 20 TDs and 9 interceptions, and his completion percentage increased to 58%. I'm expecting him to be even better now that he's a deep threat in Stefon Diggs. The Buffalo Bills definitely needed a player like this just to make Josh Allen fully continue to develop to the best of his ability. You don't want to have a developing QB struggle with confidence issues with wide receivers that clearly can't shoulder the load. So at the end of the day, I feel like both teams made a phenomenal trade. This trade definitely benefits both sides. Let me know what your grade for this trade is in the comment section down below, because I just got some brand new wide receiver news. Apparently, it seems as if Amari Cooper is staying with the Dallas Cowboys on a 5-year, $100 million contract, which is, oh my God, that is insane. So I made a couple of videos in the past about Dez Bryant potentially returning to the Cowboys if the Cowboys didn't feel like they could keep Amari Cooper, but I also said that the Dallas Cowboys were going to get the opportunity to choose between Amari Cooper and Byron Jones. Byron Jones signed earlier today with the Miami Dolphins on a 5-year, $82 million deal, and now the Dallas Cowboys have the luxury of keeping their brand new wide receiver one and Dak Prescott's favorite target. Obviously, this is a no-brainer. Dak Prescott's probably going to get hit with the franchise tag later on. The Cowboys said that they don't view it as a sign of disrespect to Dak Prescott, but at the end of the day, it still sucks not to have a full deal done with Dak. It also gives the Cowboys a year to evaluate how Dak Prescott's going to perform with a brand new head coach, giving him instructions on how to perform. So if you ask me, this is a no-brainer for the Dallas Cowboys. You have to bring back Amari Cooper. Whenever you lost your other marquee free agent, they weren't going to pay Byron Jones all of that money anyways. Although if you ask me, I think they should have went for Byron Jones over Amari Cooper, but this caps off a phenomenal wide receiver day in the NFL, guys. Make sure you guys are subscribed so you could always get the latest and greatest NFL news from my channel, and you turn on notifications and drop a like. Aside from that, I'm your boy Microphone, and I'll catch you guys in the next upload.